everyone. Welcome to Wellness Wednesdays with Stephanie. My name is Stephanie Buckland, your host. I am excited, delighted, and super stoked about interviewing my friend and colleague Ron Breitenbach today. Ron, thank you so much for coming today.
Thanks for having me.
I'm so excited to dive into this conversation. I know that you've had a very interesting journey in personal development, so this is going to be a great convo. Uh, can you please give our audience an introduction to who you are, what you're up to in the world, and what kind of magic shows up as a result?
Man, I tell you what, I got out of aerospace and literally because of my hands, right? I mean, they started going numb after 30 minutes, and I'm going, what's going on? So I literally had to pivot into being a real estate investor. You know what I mean? So um, I think as we get older, because we just in our 20s, we're just like, let's just go, right? And you realize your bodies are needing nurturing. And I had to pivot, you know what I mean? So I believe the body, right, is the number one piece of real estate that we own, right? So, definitely got to take care of it. But most people say, Ron, I probably because your hands the way they are, we definitely know that you're a hardworking man. Absolutely. Wrenching every day, fixing airplanes, making sure they're flying right, signing off my work, and guaranteeing, the success. But where I've pivoted to is real estate investing. But during this podcast, you can ask me some questions that I learned from Woody Woodward on some personal development stuff. So go ahead and ask away. I'm ready.
Absolutely. So let's get into Woody Woodward and the drive system because I think, when you first introduced it to me, I was like, wow, this is really cool that you can get a really good assessment of your personality and who you are and how you can be more successful in life just by taking this test. Which I mean, I've looked at all these other cool like personality tests and things like the Myers-Briggs was one of those
Mhm.
ones we did in the 90s that was so popular. People still are identifying themselves with those four-digit codes.
Right.
So, like I know that this stuff makes an impact. I personally, I find that the more you know yourself, the more effective you can be in life.
Right.
So it's a mirror for yourself to be more, aware of who you are. So please, yes, let's go into the why. Why do you think that this attracted you in? What was it about Drive?
Well, I think, most of the time, it's definitely the law of attraction. And Woody's definitely an outgoing personality guy. He feeds you some good laughs, some laughter, some really personal stuff about himself, his family, where he came from. I mean, Woody's a high school dropout. So, he literally had to figure out life very quickly. At 26 years old, he became a millionaire, becoming a personal development coach, and he just went in depth to study human nature, communication, relationships. I think the guy wrote like 38 books or something. Just astonishing success this guy has. And he looks young. I mean, he's around my age, 50, 55. The guy looks like he's 32, 35, right? So
Wow.
um, what really got me involved over the last couple of years is seeing other people's success, because sometimes we can dip our toe in the water, but if we're not 100% all in, we're ready when we're ready in life. That's just the
For
way it
sure.
is, right?
Yep,
So
absolutely.
when Woody got this thing completely launched on the Drive system this March, I was like, I'm all in. Like if this thing is what it's supposed to be about, and it gains communication relationship up to 80% more than my only what I know of 20% of me, kind of maybe results back to the 10% brain we only use, but neural pathways and everything in there, I think good vibes and positive energy and living for yourself internally instead of being bombarded externally. You want to gain that 80%. So you have 100% of you moving forward, living for you internally, if that makes sense.
Totally does. Yeah, absolutely. Well, and I think, I mean, really, all of life is relationships. So the more that you know yourself, the more that you know how you show up in those relationships, the more you're able to really full up, like show up as an authentic version of yourself
For
in the
sure.
conversations. And, it's like we're taught by our society to wear masks,
Mhm.
especially in childhood and growing into early adulthood. We expect that that's the way we're supposed to play in the world. We think if I show a pretty face, if I show a perfect life, if I show, my life is amazing, that's gonna play well for my future and what I can do. But what's funny about that is the more you fake it, the worse life gets because you suffer underneath it. You're not living authentically. So you're like faking it all this time. I That was my experience coming into adulthood from about 20 until about 29, when
Wow.
I finally realized that I was faking my entire life. I was faking my relationship, I was faking my corporate persona, I was faking everything.
Hmm.
And I had to come to that realization that, like, who is Stephanie at 30 years old? Because I didn't know me. I thought, all of my masks were me.
Right.
So, I think that that's around the time that I started pressing into personal development and looking into, all those self-help books that are out there. I think my
Hmm.
very first self-help book was Eat Mangoes Naked by Sark. And I loved that book because she encouraged us to fully embrace our authentic selves. And that's something I'd never done as an adult. I'm like, how do you do that?
Hmm.
So anyway, I think that this is really, really cool that there is a source for us to be more in alignment with our authentic selves, to be more aware of
Hmm.
how we present. So let's talk a little more about drive itself. So how does it work exactly?
So Drive pretty much lays out five different um, personality traits or character traits, if you will. And it's what makes you feel important, right? When you take the assessment for free, it's literally asking you what words jump out in each category that really fits you, right? And it is some people have to understand that you're not thinking when you're going through this test of assessment of yourself. You don't want to think of what other people's think of you, right? So those
Mhm.
words have to mean, like right down, deep down, personally inside you, like what drives you, what makes you feel important every single day. And if you're honest with yourself, like you were, Stephanie, right? You're like, oh my goodness. And that 57-page assessment came out, and you're like, it's almost scary. This thing knows who I am. So
Right.
so yeah, it's pretty cool. And I just to relate back to what you were saying, I think that our belief system, right? Fake it till you make it. And I think that corporate world mumbo jumbo, man, probably since 80s, 90s, you know what I mean? Fake it to
Right.
make it. Now companies are very, selective, and I'm sure they've got a computer software program or AI that looks out keywords in a resume. But come on, man, you have to interview the person face to face or on a Zoom. You can't just say, "Oh, I'm going to hire you because what's on your resume." Maybe a lot of companies out there do that. I don't know, but that's what this is. Like, how can you take um, 80% that you're missing in life and gain all of it? And this is what this drive system does for you.
That's fantastic. So how would you say having access to this has affected your life?
Man, I tell you, dialing into um, key things around, right? I know that we have to feed ourselves, positiveness, positive energy. Um, you know, there's a person in our community that, we know about the belief systems, and we'll talk about her at another time, I'm sure, or you probably already interviewed, you probably don't know what I'm talking about, but she she says it's sometimes, can you self-talk or self-help yourself? I think so at a point, but the people around you, if you know how to communicate with them, that's what Drive helps you with, not only in business, but relationships around the house and your peers and friends, right? If you know how to talk to someone and it's not a negative conversation about an external thing of a war or politics or, my God, the financial situation of our economy,
Right.
those things are part of life. We must discuss them, but don't dwell on them, right? And I think that's what I've learned since March is you gotta maybe have a conversation about it, but nip it in the butt and resolve it. Say, hey, let's agree to disagree and not have this conversation right now. I'm kind of in a different place. I want to gain that next level of internal myself, so I can feel better about my day. Does that make sense? And most people, oh yeah, I get it. We can talk about this another time or whatever. So if you're communicated with the 5 personality traits of drive, and you know what those are, you can identify them. And you in being identifying them, not only in business and relationships around you, it's more effective. And I think more
Hmm.
people, even now, and that's what you just asked me. I think even now, more people see a little bit of difference in me. So, I've got private money lenders coming to me asking me, "Do you need money for deals?" I've seen your post, and it's a whole. I mean, communication around Drive is not just one-on-one all the time. It's even effective marketing. I don't want to go off on a tangent, but Woody Woodward's son, um, his TikTok following started to go down. So his dad says, "Let me help you with this," right? And uh, Woody, I would say 6, 7 years ago, sold everything he owned and just traveled on credit cards with his family. Well, guess what? His son was part of that. So they created a TikTok video say, "We sold everything. Here's 18 credit cards, and here's the places we went." What do we do that for? To experience different cultures, languages, communication, and build relationships. It's just like, whoa, this TikTok following went up 416,000 followers or something crazy.
Wow.
So it's incredible how you communicate with people, because do we like to feel good? Yes. How do we get there, right? If you continue to be, in a slump or distracted, or depression may be coming in, it's time to like set that garbage and baggage aside, and like I said, focus on you and internally.
Totally agree. Absolutely. And I think, for me personally, I made a choice as a young person that I wasn't going to have children
Mm-hmm.
because well, there were several reasons, but one of the reasons is that I didn't want the responsibility. I wanted to focus on my own life and my career and the things I wanted to do in the world. I felt like I was going to have a really big life, and that would be too much of a distraction to have children in that really big life. So instead, I have spent a lot of time in my adult life working on myself.
Mm-hmm.
All that time that I would be raising a child has been raising me and figuring out how to be me, how to be more authentically me, how to be more in alignment with my purpose and path, and how to be more in that place of compassion and positive energy and forgiveness, and
Mm-hmm.
seeing people for who they are and letting them show up as they are without judgment. Like all of these things I've learned as a result of being on this path of essentially personal development.
Mm-hmm.
And so what it did though for me is it led me to, I want to write my own book about personal development.
Yeah. Okay.
So I'd love to hear about the other aspects of life that Drive has brought into your life, like relationships or friendships, even that have
Mhm.
shifted.
Right. And I'm glad you brought this up because people around you are curious about it. You know what I mean? And I think that's why we're doing this little podcast interview, because they're like, "What is driving?" I'll like to take a free assessment, whatever. But Yeah, you're gaining awareness of what somebody's internal drive is, right? And like you said in the beginning of the conversation, faking it and making it. I mean, a smile is addicting. I mean, it only takes what 4 to 6 muscles in your face smile, and a frown is like 216, muscles used. So it's better to
Mhm.
smile at someone because it is contagious. But if
Yep.
you know what's behind the smile and it is or isn't fake, I think you can tell, right?
Mhm.
Um, a person's body language, what's strengthened me with drive is recognizing if someone says fine or okay, right? You know what okay means? There's something broken. Like the okay
Yep.
is in the word broken. Or I'm fine, that's blow off 101. If someone says I'm fantastic, phenomenal, great, how are you? They're returning the energy to you. So,
Yeah.
and I see that time and time again. Now I know there's business conversations. People want to get to the brass tacks, um, and those are the directors and executives, and I know who those people are, right? But if it's a relator, intellectual, um, and validator, those three people are really in tuned with other people's feelings or recognizing a little bit more. I'm an executive relator. I mean relator because I have two children and a spouse too. So just to reiterate on just somebody in the family, right? It was Lorda's younger brother came to visit us and his wife, and their youngest boy Matthew or Mateo, whatever. But I laid out the drive cards in front of Marco without his wife or influence or the kids' influence, and then I did it for her and I did it for Mateo. Guess what? They were all the same.
Oh, wow.
They're all lined up the same. It's and I will tell you, their communication, their love, the travel they do, the exercise they do, the way they eat healthy, it's in line, right? If I went to
Nice.
her other brother or her other sister, I don't think it would be the same, right? Because I recognize the it's not chaos, but there's the character personality trait. Like you could
Yeah.
tell each individual family siblings through Laura's of who's happier and who's not, who's the complainer, who's not. You know what I mean? It's very recognizable once you get into the drive system. And I think that 57-page assessment that you got actually, kind of describes that stuff and what to see
Absolutely.
and observe, right? So, uh, that assessment that was given to you for free, it's not garbage. Like it's dialed in, I mean, makes goosebumps on your skin sometimes, right?
Oh,
So,
for sure. For sure. I mean, just the accuracy of it. Absolutely. Awesome. Okay. Well, is there anything else you want to share about Drive or about Woody Woodward or your experience?
um, Woody Woodward is very in touch with his emotions. I don't remember if he's intellectual or relator, but I mean, he gets people in the webinar seminars, webinars online, whatever. He could pull some tears from you. He gets you really thinking about deep relationships, where we are now. Uh, you instead of you trying to make the other person change, you're the external component to their internal drive. You need to fix your internal drive before you can give suggestions to someone else, right? It's like all
Agreed.
that
Yep.
stuff we've learned in the past. Do unto others as you want done unto you. So if you're pointing fingers and trying to fix others, oh no. You have to like dial this relationship in first, right? So um, I will tell you, Woody Woodward's personal development coaching in the past was literally $10,000. Okay, so Woody's finally said, you know what? I'm seeing humanity really go in the wrong direction. I want to put this together through my real estate organization. They created this new company, right? It's called Saladio. Um, And Woody is literally on a global webinar Mondays at noon. Okay. It's a little bit of subscription cost to it, but man, it's worth it. And you're no obligation. There's no contract, right? You want to do it a month and you got 4 sessions, those 4 Mondays, and you got yourself dialed in, fine. You cancel subscription. It's fine with us. We just want everybody to have a better outlook on life, but also an internal look at yourself. Like the words that we use, you have to start recognizing. I think that's part of the drive system, right? Um, Here's one quick point I like to address, Debbie, too, because I think our belief system sometimes it's been dialed in from our parents, and it's almost programming in our head, right?
Oh yeah.
Don't talk to strangers. What does that do for a business owner that wants to go into sales? Well, I'm not supposed to talk to strangers. Like it's programmed in there. You have to
It
reprogram,
definitely is. Yeah.
right? Or
Money
let's see
doesn't grow
what.
on trees.
Yes, it doesn't. You know what I mean? What's another thing that we're taught as kids? No, 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 no. Well, where's the yes? Fighting through it's discouraging to a person in business going through so many no's. I mean, I could tell you about Bob Tierney in Chicago. He went through 1,000 no's until he got his first yes, for sale or real estate investing deal he was doing, whatever. So it's the never give up attitude. Don't give up on yourself. You're a complex machine. You're a human being, and it's an amazing organism that you're in control of. I literally wrote in high school. I blew my high school journalist English teacher away because I literally at that time was starting to recognize and maturing in my senior year, saying, my brain's my brain. I'm looking out at everything in the world through my eyes. You know what I mean? I can't look through someone else's eyes. I'm not in control of their brain. I'm only in control of what I can control. So this right here, if I make this better, people around me are going to see that and want to be attracted to it, and they're going to want that as well. That makes
Mhm.
probably even more sense as well.
Yep.
So
Yep.
so your
That's
wellness
awesome.
collective, that's what everybody should be be feeling emotionally is hey, I'm part of something. I believe in what Stephanie's doing, and hey, I like to believe in what Ron's talking about. So how do I get it? So I
Definitely.
can I can
Yep.
get a link over to Stephanie. You can reach out to her or whatever and take that free drive assessment. And plus, we're doing the summit right about
Yep.
10 days, so you get a get
Absolutely.
in
So
depth.
the assessment link will be in the description.
Yes,
So if you want to just click the link down below, that'll be there. And if you want more information about the drive system or the program that Ron was talking about, his contact information will also be down below. So you find him, follow up, and get some info about the training and that opportunity. Thank you. This has been amazing.
for sure.
I love to ask my interviewees for final thought or source of inspiration. Want to share something?
Final thought or source of inspiration. You know, I'm probably closer to death, which is not a really maybe fun thing to talk about. But look, man, what are you putting forth? Like I was thinking about this last night during my drive system training with Nancy out of Chicago, and my God, Stephanie, the planet's been here 80 million years, right? Dinosaurs were 65 million. The planet, some trees out here in the redwoods in California outlive humans.
Oh yeah.
So do you have the desire to create a family legacy or even a business legacy? Why not start now, today? You know what I mean? Let it continue to grow and just sail
Yep. Awesome. Thank you, Ron.
for sure. Thank you.
Absolutely.